One of the hardest things in life is having words in your heart that you can't utter. James Earl Jones said that in an interview in regards to him having a stutter when he was younger. One of the many hurdles that he overcame in his life to become one of the most iconic voices in the history of Hollywood. Not just the voice of a generation, the voice of multiple generations. Darth Vader, Mufasa, Field of Dreams, so many great roles. The star of stage and screen for over 40 fucking goddamn years. Conan the Barbarian. Didn't matter what role you gave James Earl Jones. He would dive headfirst into it, give his absolute all, and what a life well lived. What a legacy on the stage, on the screen, and what tremendous quotes, what tremendous performances. 93 years old. I mean, what a legacy he left. And yeah, this is a tribute to the man, James Earl Jones, the actor James Earl Jones, and I want to know your favorite James Earl Jones moments, quotes, movie roles in the comments, please. Were any of you lucky to see him on stage? Can you recommend any stage performances that happen to be available for streaming that would encapsulate just how great of an actor he was? And yes, news broke about 24 hours ago as of this recording that he passed away at the age of 93. Born on January 17, 1931 in Mississippi and dying just yesterday. Obviously, the outpouring of support, love, and appreciation for the man himself and just how he defined so many roles and was the voice of so many people's childhoods, adulthoods. I mean, it isn't just those few roles that I mentioned, Darth Vader, The Lion King, and Field of Dreams, stuff that I will be retro-viewing at some point when I get the time. But just the fact that James Earl Jones had so many memorable moments throughout his career and was so revered by his peers, by young and old alike. I mean, anybody can hear the Darth Vader voice and instantly be brought back to a childhood memory. Mufasa, long live the king. I know that was Jeremy Irons saying it, but just forgive me. But just all the roles that he had and all the stuff that he was able to do. And I'm going to talk about some of it. But yeah, this one's tough, but it's not like the man was absolutely cut down the prime of life. He lived such a long life, and the legacy he left, it's still obviously something that hurts deeply. It stings big. It rips us asunder. Some people are really, really torn up about this. But that man absolutely lived a goddamn incredible life. And a life, I imagine, of hardships, given the fact that he was born in 1931 in Mississippi as an as a black man. Oh boy. I could just imagine if there was ever like a documentary series, biography series done on James Earl Jones, there would be a lot of revelations about stuff. But, he started in television in the early 60s, like as far as being on film. And IMDb has a, great series of just like all the stuff that he did. And I don't know why I always forget that his first big role was in Dr. Strangelove or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb from Stanley Kubrick. I mean, his Lieutenant Lothar Zog. I don't know why that name makes me laugh. It's just hilarious. It's just that's another one that people need to rewatch because one, the movie's insane. Kubrick proved he's insane, but he left such an impression there that it was natural that he was going to at least get more looks. Now, you could tell right away that he had it. He was obviously going to have to grow in other roles. But that would have been just something to hang your hat on for the rest of your goddamn career. But nope, he decided to just continue his filmography, grow and grow. The Great White Hope, that I believe there was a clip of something that was shared from a stage performance, and it was him talking to a guy playing his son, and just looking at how James Earl Jones instantly, from the moment, he doesn't even have to say anything, just the moment that he shows up, he commands your attention. So you could imagine that not the studio audience, but the theater audience would have absolutely been just enraptured by watching. We're seeing a fucking legend here. And yeah, legend and icon. Those are words that get thrown out quite a bit. But James Earl Jones is an icon, a legend. Jesus of Nazareth, he played Balthazar. That was like, it was some kind of miniseries, I think. I think that was the one that was like a few, movies. It was in 1977. And you could absolutely see why they would want him to be that. I mean, good Lord. Like James Earl Jones, at this point in 77, of course, he would get one of his most iconic roles, but he also was in The Greatest as Malcolm X. And by that point, he was in his mid-40s. And he was revered, with stuff like End of the Road. And just doing, just turning in great performance after great performance after great performance. I really hope that maybe the Criterion Collection streaming service has some of his stuff, and I can maybe subscribe to that and check that out. But Darth Vader, Luke, I am your father. It's like, it is your destiny, most impressive. I'm not going to try to do too many James Earl Jones impressions, but just looking at what he did for Darth Vader. I mean, and he was... apparently, I guess he signed over to Disney the rights to use his voice as AI in future Star Wars projects. And as long as James Earl Jones did that of his own accord and wasn't, not necessarily forced to, but maybe not in his right mind, I don't know. As long as he did it willingly, good, okay, that's a way to carry his legacy on. But 1977, the stuff about space wizards and using the Force and all that, and yeah, he was the voice of Darth Vader. I don't remember the guy that played Darth Vader when they unmasked him in Return of the Jedi, and I feel bad because he actually I think he was like some kind of veteran stage actor as well, but nevertheless, he's probably the most memorable character of Star Wars. I mean, yes, your mileage may vary. There's Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill actually did tweet out R.I.P. Dad and everything. Yeah, that got me. That really goddamn got me. But, Darth Vader, the Force choking, do not fail me again. Or you have failed me for the last time. I'm sorry if I mess up some of these lines. But yeah, he was there. Empire Strikes Back. Return of the Jedi. And he was still doing other stuff. Don't get me wrong. He was in plenty of dramas. He was in plenty of television. It'd be too numerous to mention. I could be here for a goddamn hour doing this stuff. And while I'm a fan of James Earl Jones, I'm not an expert in every single role he's done, so I don't feel that would be best for me to do that. But Conan the Barbarian, Thulsa Doom, Thulsa Doom. God, I haven't watched that in so long. He was just, he was great because he wanted to take it seriously. And yes, Conan the Barbarian, sword and sorcery, sword and sandal, however you want to go about it. It was basically the revival of that, and that led to, Ator, the Fighting Eagle, and Your Hunter from the Future, and various other Italian knockoffs and stuff like that. And even a couple lesser-known Conan sequels. Well, not lesser known, but lesser revered. My mother, my father, my family, But yes, James Earl Jones as the villain. Great. Just great stuff. And that's something I recommend you guys check out. Not necessarily the 2011 version. That one wasn't, that one wasn't good. But he was the Soul Man. He was the Soul Man. And Fly of the Dragons, that was a children's movie. He would be doing more voiceover work. I mean, granted, it would have been hilarious actually to see him as Darth Vader. And I mean, he is Darth Vader, but you get the point, the man under the mask. But they wanted somebody bigger, a little bit more imposing, I guess, even though James Earl Jones commanded your attention and had a great physical presence. He wasn't somebody that could be like 6'5" or whatever, but nevertheless, Coming to America, I believe he was Coming to America too. I didn't see, but I remember seeing that was listed as a role for him. But yeah, Coming to America was something that, showed appreciation for, what he... I mean, by that point, he's in his mid-50s, so, or later 50s, but if you build it, they will come. Field of Dreams, that is like another tentpole role for him. He Terrence Mann, he was really, really good in that. That's a movie I actually remember watching with my family. We may actually watch it again at some point. We may watch it this week just to feel something. Help me, I'm feeling. But no, he wasn't in The Grinch, as hilarious as that would have been. But Field of Dreams, where Kevin Costner actually seemed to have his head on straight and was making movies that were, or a part of movies that were good. But yeah, James Earl Jones was great in that. That's one of the best sports movies of all time. I would argue. I mean, I don't know. Maybe people would disagree. I don't know how many people would. Fun fact: that is one of two baseball related movies that came out in 1989. Another one had Roy Scheider in it. Look it up, folks. You'll be amazed. I actually reviewed it, but I'm going to let you find that as an Easter egg. But Field of Dreams was something that James Earl Jones absolutely just, that James Earl Jones absolutely nailed. He was great in that. Hunt for Red October as Admiral Greer. He was also playing the same role in Patriot Games and Clear and Present Danger. Nice way to tie all those there. And so by the time we get to Clear and Present Danger, which was 93, 94, somewhere around that, he was in his 60s. Still turning in great performances, doing all this great stuff. Because to think, by the time he was a teenager, by the time he turned 18, television was coming into its own, or at least starting to. But, for a while it was just radio and stuff like that. And you could imagine with how classically trained he seemed to be and was, that he probably learned a lot of his performance ideas from radio, listening to, various, seeing plays, learning stuff on the radio, because radio broadcast has to speak to all the people, and that's what James Earl Jones could do, whether he was in a minor role, doing voiceover work. Apparently he did voiceover work for the University of Michigan football team. Somebody shared a video of that. That was very nice. But yeah, then he was in Sneakers in 1992. He was in Lincoln in 1992, which, that was a pretty long movie. Can't remember if that was a PBS special or not. But then he did narrator work for like Judge Dredd, the good Dredd movie. And then, of course, obviously, just before Judge Dredd, Everything the Light Touches is Ours. He was Mufasa. I was wanting to take a bit of more time, but I'm asking you to Mufasa. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But James Earl Jones as the King of Kings, the King of the Lions, the King of the Pride. He was great in that. That's the voice of another generation right there. I mean, to think about it, voice of the 70s, even in his later 70s, is Darth Vader. Voice of baseball, voice of some baseball, purists and movie fans and Field of Dreams. And the voice of so many children remember as Lion King. I remember being pissed when Mufasa died. I do remember that. I was also 13, so forgive me. But he was also in Casper, A New Beginning. He just started basically taking some roles just because why not? I mean, why not stay busy? And plus, he's James Earl fucking Jones. You can just slap his name on something and you're going to get respect. Primary Colors, he was voiceover for that. Simpson, Bleeding Gums Murphy, and TV and voiceover work and stuff. And he worked up until just a couple years ago. So, yes, the roles were a little less frequent. And yes, his voice would be lent to some of the more recent Star Wars projects, as you would expect. Rogue One, I still argue, is a pretty damn good Star Wars movie. And just all the iconic lines that James Earl Jones uttered and the interview pieces and stuff like that, it would take forever to talk about so much of this stuff, because James Earl Jones is what you would want in an actor. He is what you would want as somebody to just talk to just see, just see if you could find a role for him, not shoehorn him in something. But think about all the movies that he made that were better. I mean, all the movies I mentioned. A lot of stuff I didn't mention. There's so many on IMDb that he has been in. A lot of dramas, a lot of stuff about a lot of stage plays that he's been in. James Earl Jones, truly the voice of multiple generations. I would imagine there are grandparents, parents, and children that could share their stories about James Earl Jones, because not just A Lengthy Life, but the numerous amount of roles, the numerous amount of characters he played, James Earl Jones is exactly what you would want in an actor. And this is no slight on anyone else, but I don't know if anybody's going to achieve that, because I don't know if anybody can, because of how he grew up and how he got his start, and how television and movies and so many other things have, just evolved, changed, whatever term you want to put that on. If there's a Mount Rushmore of voiceover work and just of acting, I think James Earl Jones would have to be on it. I mean, and obviously this is subjective and everything, but James Earl Jones, for all that he did in sci-fi, children's movies, action movies, dramas, whatever you want to go, or whatever label you want to slap on it, he is somebody that absolutely can be remembered as a tentpole of Hollywood, a tentpole of entertainment, a tentpole of drama, and one of the best actors of his or any time. And the fact that he's gone, the fact that he will never be able to do something else, is a shame. But at 93 years old, the man was able to hopefully enjoy his golden years. He had a child, I believe. I don't remember if it was a son or a daughter. But at least the legacy, the family lineage can carry on, but just a little part of him continues on. It's a shame, but also at least at 93, what else could he have done? What else could he have done except maybe done another animated Lion King, or maybe don the Darth Vader mask and just done it. Except I know he didn't don that and stuff like that, but James Earl Jones, a life well lived. And what are your favorite James Earl Jones moments? I asked before, I'm going to ask again. Movies, lines, characters. Rambling, I apologize, but 93. Rest in peace, James Earl Jones. The career you left, the life you lived, always imitated, never duplicated. Rest in peace.